Good afternoon, everyone. This is the final update on our coastal storm that has been impacting the region really since Saturday night through yesterday and now continuing into tomorrow morning with waves of rainfall, major coastal flooding, many locations with the oceans invading parking lots, homes, and of course, wind with some wind damage, some downed trees, wind gusts ranging anywhere from 40 to 59 miles per hour. I've seen a few unconfirmed 60 mile per hour wind gusts as well. It's been a pretty stormy period of weather, especially if you were right along the coast. If you're away from the coast, let's say if you're in Trenton, for example, it's not that bad. A little bit of rain, a little bit of wind, but not too bad. If you're in, let's say, Allentown, this really wasn't that significant of an event. But if you're along the coast, especially along the Jersey Shore, that's where you saw the worst impacts with the coastal flooding, the strong winds. I'll give you an example in terms of the rainfall that we've experienced. Let's turn this into snowfall to kind of give you a better visual idea. In Freehold, New Jersey, if we had turned all of this to snow, we would be talking roughly about 17, 18 inches of snow, 10 to 1 ratio. Okay, we'll keep this simple. However, if we go to Trenton, you'd be lucky to get an inch. So 1 inch in Trenton, 17, 18 inches in Freehold. Very short distance. That's the difference of basically right here. Here's Trenton, here's Freehold. The gradient of us, you'd have a 17-inch gradient. That's the type of rainfall gradient we've had between the immediate Jersey Shore and locations just to the west on the I-95 corridor and up towards New York City. Long Island has seen some very heavy rainfall. We've seen reports of around 3.5 inches along the immediate coast on New Jersey. So again, it's been pretty impressive in terms of the rainfall as forecasted the closer you are to the coast. So what can we expect moving forward? Well, as you can see, we have waves of rainfall still coming into the coastline here. We're zoomed in on the Jersey Shore, where you can see that moisture transport very clearly enhancing the rainfall. We have a nice little inverted trough hanging out right around the Jersey Shore, cutting through western Monmouth. Actually, you could take this from Newark down through western Monmouth and into Ocean. And we just got new data, so let's push that back even further west towards the I-95 corridor and to the west of Trenton. So what this all basically means is that you're having this lifting, pivoting through the region, enhancing the rainfall. We've seen rainfall throughout the day along the Jersey Shore, expanding into the interior with waves of showers at times. When we zoom out, you can see there is our coastal low. It is starting to weaken. It's down to 1,005 millibars. It was as low as 993 millibars down here. Okay, this was the old primary. It's up to 1,005 millibars, down to 993 yesterday. This one got down to around 999 millibars. It's now up to 1,005 millibars. So you can see this storm gradually weakening. So what is going on here? Well, when we take a look at the visible satellite picture, you can see this nice, tightly wound low pressure system, okay? This is a surface low pressure system. It's not tropical, okay? Make that very clear. Why? How do we know that? Well, you can see the dry air pivoting in here. You can see it has like frontal features here. Any system that has frontal features, it is not tropical. Okay, so that is the simplest way to tell. So this is clearly a cold core system with a tightly wrapped low-level center. When we step back on the infrared satellite picture, you can see another feature down here, another feature up here, an upper level low here. You can see there's a lot of moisture hanging around. And on the water vapor satellite picture, you can see a nice little upper level low and another one here and just a broad trough, right? So what's happening is that this storm is becoming vertically stacked. As we've been saying for a couple of hours now, when the storm becomes vertically stacked, it starts to weaken because it can't expel the water vapor from the lifting in the atmosphere. So basically, it's kind of like choking out the engine. When you have, this is the difference between warm core and cold core low pressure systems. Warm core, vertically stacked, everything rises, everything rises and then expels out. So you want everything in one column, right? When you have an extratropical system, everything rises in a slant. So if it's vertically stacked, it can't rise, and so it chokes off the engine. So that's essentially what we have setting up here. These are our upper level winds. Notice the trough is right over where we were just looking at the surface low. The surface low is right here. Here is the upper level trough, vertically stacked. Why is this all getting kicked out? Because this ridge here is building in. So this whole complex in the polar jet stream, the trough building into the west, the ridge building into the plains and towards the Great Lakes, that's kicking all this mess out. So that's why we're going to see this storm depart over the next 12 to 24 hours as this trough gives way. At 850 millibars, there is our secondary low, which is now the new primary low. There is our old primary low, and you can see the jet streak here at 850 millibars is much weaker. Therefore, the winds are much weaker. The moisture transport is much weaker. So this whole setup is now basically supporting an exit here. All right. And at the surface, you can see, again, I just want to show you, sorry, not the surface, but mid-levels, moisture transport coming in from the Atlantic, dropping into the northern mid-Atlantic here, supporting our waves of showers continuing on through this evening. And finally, here we are at the surface. Those northeasterly winds continue to support significant coastal flooding. One more round, and then we start to subside as the winds back to the north and eventually to the northwest by tomorrow afternoon as this whole storm exits. We can use the HRR guidance, or you can use the NAM, but basically, or you can even use the European. They all basically say the same thing. Waves of showers continuing on through this evening, especially along the coast. Looks like we're going to be verifying a lot of our numbers in terms of rainfall along the Jersey Shore. Away from the coast, it's going to be more hit and miss. We'll see what happens at the end, see how many people get up to around 1 inch on the I-95 corridor and a half an inch over the interior over the past couple of days. But you can see that rainfall falling apart, fading away as the lifting and the whole structure of this storm basically weakens and falls apart. And you can see in terms of the winds here, gradually weakening. So again, it's going to remain windy overnight tonight, but nowhere near as strong as what we've been experiencing for the past couple of days. So improving conditions are on the way. The storm's getting kicked out. And before you know it, we'll be experiencing sunny skies and very warm temperatures by this weekend. That is your update for this afternoon. Have a wonderful evening. And as always, stay safe out there.